These are the mysteries of St. Clair County. Whoa! Hold on there, eager beavers. You got a lot to learn about St. Clair County before you're ready to hear any mysteries. But wait, where'd my desk go? Whatever, doesn't matter. So, here's a little bit about St. Clair County so you can understand it a little. St. Clair County is the oldest county in the state of Illinois. It was actually established in 1790 by the late great Arthur St. Clair. Now, if you know anything about the history of Illinois, 1790, it was established before the state was established. Now, it took up more land than the actual state does now. And then when the state was established, it took up most of the state. And now, obviously, it takes up the land that it does. A lot smaller. Now, a little bit of information on the great Arthur St. Clair. Now, he was actually born in Scotland, and he served in the British Army in the French and Indian War. Then, in the Revolutionary War, he served for the amazing United States of America. And then, he was the first governor of the Northwest Territory, and eventually named the territory county of St. Clair County after himself. Yeah. So, I think you're ready for some mysteries now. What do you think? Let's do it. 1200 AD, Mississippian land. The Cahokians are thriving here at Cahokia Mounds. They built these mounds to bury their dead and to have people live on top of, like this one, Monk's Mound, where the chief lived. At the peak of their civilization, 20,000 people lived here. That's bigger than London at the time. Then, in 1400 AD, something happened that will remain a mystery forever. They disappeared. People still don't understand why they disappeared. There could have been famine or disease and they died, or they could have just left, joining another tribe or living somewhere else. Today, people can come to Cahokia Mounds National Landmark to observe this once thriving civilization where people lived, but now is open and barren. (1799), Cahokia, Illinois. This church, the Holy Family Church, is built to replace the log cabin one built in 1699. Now, this church is the oldest continuous parish in all of the United States. It's also a national landmark. Now, the mystery that lies here is whether it was part of the Underground Railroad transferring slaves from the south to the north during the time of slavery. The reason this is a mystery is because inside, under one of the pews, is a trap door leading to a compartment that could have been the compartment where they held slaves to transfer them. Now, whether it was actually part of the Underground Railroad or whether that compartment was for something else, we will never know. (1874), Saxtown, Illinois. 5 people are sleeping in their house, and in the middle of the night, a grandpa and a dad hear a noise at the door. They go down to investigate, and it's a man banging at the door with an axe. The man kills the father, cutting off 3 of his fingers, and bludgeons the grandpa to death. Then he heads upstairs, killing a toddler and an infant, and the mother all in their beds while they sleep. This is an unsolved mystery to this day, and it's one of the saddest unsolved mysteries in all of Illinois history. This here is the headstone of all 5 of them. But while the headstone resides here at Walnut Hill in Belleville, their bodies, that is, are still all in a Saxtown cemetery in Millstadt. January 12th, 1912. Some small neighborhood children notice a fire blazing in the upper deck of the cathedral. Firefighters rush to the scene, but by the time they get here, it's too late. Also, the pressure in their hoses isn't strong enough to reach the top of the cathedral. So by the time it's all said and done, $100,000 in damage is done to the cathedral. Now, they still don't know what the reason was for this fire starting. It's a mystery to this day. Now in 2012, they held a commemoratory mass to honor the rebuilding of this beautiful cathedral into what we see today. And actually, another really important fact about the burning of the cathedral is that a year after the fire, Bishop Henry Althoff was appointed by Pope Pius X. He was instrumental in St. Clair County because he oversaw all the rebuilding of the cathedral. And obviously the cathedral is really important to St. Clair County and all the state. It's the biggest cathedral in all of Illinois. And he actually made Time magazine because of his stance on gambling. He disapproved of gambling heavily and would rather have people give to the church directly than have people have parish festivals and things like that. But all that aside, another important thing is that we all know Althoff Catholic High School, which is a decent high school, was named after him. And that is a big high school, and it's a great way to remember him. (2012) Future site of Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge. Some researcher archaeologists, including none other than my sister, Alicia Loogie, discovered bones buried here. What's unique about these bones when they dig them up, they're buried upside down. Also, it's found outside of any known Native American villages. So, the bones could have belonged to a Native American outcast or a modern murder victim. We will now never know because any remaining clues are buried here in the concrete of this new bridge. We are here with Alicia, one of the archaeologists. So Alicia, what were you looking for in that site?
So what we were looking for at that site was what we would predict to find in a Cahokian site from about 400 to 1200 AD, which would be stone weaponry, axe heads, decorated statuary, pottery, things like that.
Okay. And what did you find that day that you did not expect to see?
So what we found that day was something that was definitely beyond the average. It looked to be the body of somebody from the Mississippian culture of that time.
And was that person, what was different about their burial than any other Mississippian?
So what was different about that burial is usually you would find somebody buried with adornments, jewelry, weaponry for the afterlife. In this case, the person was buried upside down and with none of those attachments.
So is it possible that it was not a Mississippian? Are you sure that it was?
That is a possibility. Until all the forensic analysis and carbon dating comes back, we will not know for sure.
Okay. Well, thank you, Alicia.
Go.
We are here today with Mark Kern, the chairman of St. Clair County, and we're going to ask him a few questions today. So, Matt, if you want to start.
All right. What do you do in your job?
So St. Clair County is a county that's made up of about 270,000 people. St. Clair County government runs the operations for the county. So the court systems, all of the jail operations, the law enforcement in the unincorporated area of St. Clair County, and then the courts for all of the county operate out of this building, and they're all funded by the St. Clair County Board. We have about a $200 million budget, and we do everything from maintain the highways to run Mid-America Airport, the airport that exists outside of Mascoutah. We've got 29 county board members that help on a daily basis to make sure that the interests of their constituents, the people who live in their districts, are represented. And we work hard to try to do the best government we can and keep taxes as low as possible.
when were you elected into your position?
I was elected in 2004 to the county board and as county board chairman, and that's chairman at large for the whole county. And I've served, I'm in my third term.
And is there anything you want us to know about the history of St. Clair County as far as, do you know anything about Gustav Korner or anything of that?
So Gustav Kerner is one of our most prominent residents in the county. He was a pallbearer at Abraham Lincoln's funeral, not just an honorary pallbearer, but really a true pallbearer who actually carried Lincoln's casket at the funeral. Kerner's early days in St. Clair County were spent at Engelman Farm, which has become a park. St. Clair County Board purchased Engelman Farm a number of years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, through a state grant. We were able to preserve Engelman, which is the last old-growth forest in St. Clair County, is on that property. It has a lot of history. The Engelman family came here. George Engelman bought the farm. He was a scientist from Germany who came over to this country looking for a better life, looking for freedom, and found it here in St. Clair County. The first Christmas tree in the Mississippi Valley was celebrated on the Engelman farm in that house. Henry Shaw, who founded Shaw's Garden, was a friend of Engelman's, and a lot of the plantings that exist in Shaw's Garden also exist on the property at Engelman. There's one of the oldest coffee trees in the state that exists on that property, planted by Henry Shaw at the time that he was there in the 1830s. Additionally, the St. Louis Science Center, their original underpinnings of that Science Center are the books that were written by Engelman on science, and you can still access those today at the Science Center.
Thanks. And is that it? Is there anything else you want us to know as far as St. Clair County or anything you'd like to say?
Well, we continue to grow and thrive. You know, we are home to Scott Air Force Base, which really makes us very special place to live. Every day we work with and have as our coaches and our teachers people who are associated with Scott Air Force Base. People from Scott stay here after they retire, and we really enjoy that relationship. Mid-America Airport was built in order to become a joint-use airport with Scott Air Force Base, and we believe without Mid-America Airport, we would not have Scott Air Force Base. The additional runway at Scott or Mid-America is used by Scott Air Force Base. Probably 60 to 70% of the landings at Scott occur on our runway. So St. Clair County taxpayers help Scott Air Force Base, and that's why we've got such a great partnership with Scott here.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, folks, I'm sorry to say that's all we have for you today. But come back next time to see the history of some other county. So, without further ado, here are the credits. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum 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 bum.